All right, today's podcast, we have Abelardo, the guy with three names. He comes all the way from Todos Santos, and actually you live in La Paz,
Yes.
but you're here in Cabo San Lucas for the podcast. Thanks
Yes.
for joining us.
Thank you, Nick, for the invitation. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, I wanted you specifically to talk about your fabulous project in Todos Santos. Tell everyone the name of the project or projects and why it's so special.
Well, the name of the project is Santa Terra Reserve. We are operating mainly through Oystera. It's what most people know and identify the project with, but it's so much more. So it was always intended to be, for a while we called it the Central Park of Todos Santos. I love New York. And I love to go to Central Park, and you go there and you see the musicians and you see the artists and you see the picnics and the frisbee and the dogs. And I was like, this is perfect, And we all I love going to the beach, but parks are awesome too.
Yeah.
And my dad took me in San Diego. I think it was Balboa Park, and you go there and there's a symphony playing, not announced, free. People just laying on the grass, and I always thought that was awesome. And I don't see that in Mexico so much. I mean, I have two passports. I'm, half Mexican, half American. And I do always think that there's some things that I miss from the US that I don't see here. And the other way around, of course. But I always, picnics, just the word picnic to me is family. It's it's sun. It's it's a little bit of everything, and that's what we're trying to accomplish with Santa Terra. So 90% of the land is gardens. We have farmland, and we have like 4.5 kilometers of walking trails, and but most people know it as Oystera as of now.
And for those that don't know Todos Santos, where is it located?
It is almost right at the entrance. So you go in through the main street, and when you turn right to the, it's called the Avenida Benito Juárez. It's the first building you'll see. It's covered in green. We let, I think, maybe a little bit too much. We let the green just take over the building. The building is new, but it was always intended to look like it was part of the town, because we are inside it's a sugarcane mill that was there. We have a chimney, a brick chimney that's 150 years old, that was always there. So we covered it up. We protected from the environment, and that was always part of the history of Todos Santos. By the way, I don't know if a lot of people don't know this, but before the palm grove, that used to be sugarcane. As far as the eye could see, I mean, from the ocean all the way up. And there were around 8 sugar mills that historically, I mean, were part of the economy of Todos Santos way before it was tourism or anything else. So we kind of wanted to recapture a little bit of that history, and the sugar mill part of the history. It's always, we always tell the story in our menu. You'll read about it, and it's part of the history. We're
giving homage to the history.
Of course. There's a lot of history in that town.
Okay, it's called Santa Terra Reserve.
It's called Santa Terra Reserve, yes.
And there's the Oystera restaurant.
Right now we have Oystera and Vino Park. But we have so many more amenities. And again, I've been in town 9 years. I just recently moved to La Paz. So I have kids that are growing. And one of the things that I always say, I mean, Todos Santos is awesome. I love Todos Santos, but it's still a small town. And for somebody that wants to raise their kids there, there's a time when, you're not competing, but you see your brother's kids, going to these amazing schools. And so we don't have that yet. So we had to move to La Paz, which I love, by the way. La Paz is awesome. My family loves it too. And I have the opportunity to drive across the peninsula every day almost, from the Sea of Cortez to the Pacific side and back, almost every day.
And it's only an hour.
It's an hour. It's it's my me time. I tell everybody I drive slow, you know, I go 100 kilometers, that's nothing.
Yeah.
And I take advantage of that time.
And it's a divided highway, 2 lanes going each way, so it's extremely safe.
It is super safe. Besides, I mean, I tell everybody, watch out for cows, and that is something that you do have to watch out for.
Besides cows, for those that don't know Todos Santos, other than a day trip from Cabo San Lucas,
Yes.
because they're on a week vacation, what is Todos Santos to you?
Again, this is a very small town. I think, you know, the local native Mexican community is around 5,000 people spread out through Todos Santos, you know, Pescadero and Cerritos. Then there is, you know, a mix between the Mexican community, not native or local, like me. And then there's a foreign community, which is very diverse. I mean, I have friends from France and Italy. I mean, it's not only American and Canadian, which is of course the majority, but there's a large community of Australians, for instance. And so that's one of the things that I think I mostly like most about Todos Santos. It was diversity. I mean, I remember going there. I think the first time that I went, because my dad came to Baja a long time ago. He was one of the founders of the Squid Row. I don't know if I told you that story.
Yes,
But
you
no,
have.
yeah.
Tell everyone. Tell
Well,
everyone
yeah.
about your dad and the history.
My dad was in the restaurant business, hospitality, like me. You know, that's something that he did most of his life, and at a time where, you know, back then, I'm talking 40, 50 years ago, in Mexico, there were two types of restaurants. It was either very high end, mostly like either French, or they wanted to be kind of European and sell the oyster Rockefeller.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went all the way down to either a fonda or a cantina.
Mhm.
There was no in between. And Grupo Anderson's, this is a company that my father founded with his partners, they found that small niche back then where, you know, service was fantastic. So they would hire these cool guys from the society that maybe were not good at math. You know, they were flunking school,
Right.
but they were great. They, you know, they're
Socializers.
and so they gave them a chance, and it just became this amazing. I mean, it's still going. By the way, I don't know if you've been to Harry's and
Hilos, just down the street.
Helios and Porfirio's. I mean, they did a great job to going from the Senior Frogs crazy, you know,
Party, spring break.
place, which was not the original
Really?
version. The first Senior Frogs in Mazatlan, I mean, was rowdy, but people dressed up. I mean, it was like the place to go, and it was not, you know, there were no yards of beer.
Yeah.
But that morphed. I mean, you know, in 50 years,
Life changes.
life changes. So yeah, they did a great job in that. And so my dad opened the Squid Roll 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I remember coming to Baja and saying, what is this? You know, it's like the last frontier. It felt so different from Mazatlan, where I was raised. And there was always like this thing in the back of my mind saying, you know, Baja. So I've been here 10 years, and I started coming back when I was doing surf events. I think I told you about this too. I started doing surf events in Mazatlan, and one thing led to another. We started doing them here, the Los Cabos Open of Surf. And I was going to Todos Santos a little bit before that in those years when Peter Buck, of course, the very famous guitarist for REM, was doing the Todos Santos Music Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the first things that I remember. I mean, it was a great festival, but I would see the local native Mexican, 3, 4, 5 generation local shop owners partying with the foreign community in one place. And I worked in many places in the tourism industry in Mexico. And of course, the community is diverse, but they don't
Commingle.
They don't commingle. And I saw that. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And I think there's a backstory to this. And one of the things that, again, really made us pay attention to what was happening in Todos Santos was, I mean, the community is is wide awake. They are very vigilant. And it's this mix of the local native family owned businesses that are very proud and protective of their land, and the foreign community, which has been there maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and they want to protect it from growth, which I agree can ruin a beautiful place in 5, 10 years. So we always, that was one of the things that I think caught my eye and really made me fall in love with Todos Santos. It was, I mean, I have a lot of friends that have been there their whole lives. Their kids go to school there, but I also have friends from that been there 2 years, and I talk to them, and you get being a diverse culture community. You're gonna hear different versions of what Todos Santos should be, but there's this core about not being Cabo.
Right.
There's this core about low density. Nobody wants paved roads. Nobody wants, the traffic. Nobody wants rotondas.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think, is something that everybody agrees on. And we from the very beginning, and this is, of course, it's a challenging part of doing any type of project here in Baja, is how do you communicate? Because some people will say no, and some people will say, yeah, but this is the way. And we were always, going back and forth and listening to different versions of what people wanted to do. And I've seen the economy of local shop owners in the last 5 years. I mean, it's gotten so much better for them. And you can see them. You can see them in their new car. And that's something that we all, I think, as a Mexican, I love to see, the local people doing better. But I also have to listen to the people that say, when is this too much? And that's a very fair question, I think.
When is it too much in your mind?
Well, again, I mean, one of the things that we all agree on is that Todos Santos should and will always be a low density destination. Now, we've seen it here. I
Yeah.
think there is a time where it's way too much. And I think, I don't know how many people know this, but the density that is approved by the municipal plans are the lowest in the country, which is awesome. I mean, you can only build on 25, 30% tops of your land.
For
I think-
example, at Santa Terra, is that the case?
Yeah, I mean, we're even lower than that. We're at 20%, but we decided to go to 9%. We decided to even go lower than that because for us, the open air, like I would rather do a dog park. I would rather do the community art center, which is just wooden shops, workshops, I mean. And, we want to, having lived there for many years and my kids growing up there, in the afternoons, there's really nothing to do. So, being able to provide English classes or music classes, cooking classes to the community, that was a very important part of the project, but also the dog park that does more than just, be a fun place for dog owners to spend the afternoon. I mean, there is a street dog street problem in Todos Santos. We all know those in most of Baja. But besides that, the amphitheater, cultural events, there's so much more that the town could take without being massive and without being, break after break after break. So that was, of course, one of our main concerns was how do we keep this as low density as we can? And that was one of the things that I would always tell my team. I'm like, we want to set an example to people that are coming after us. Now,
Did you always get it right? I mean, did you make mistakes along the way? I'm imagining a lot of resistance from the local community.
Well, more than resistance, there was a lot of misinformation.
For example?
Well, people didn't know what it was, and they immediately, just were against it because we did not tell everybody the plans. And again, this is important in a small town. You have two roads. You have two options. You completely open it up, or you do what I did, which I think I've given close to 200 tours of the property. Instead of opening up to everybody at once, what I did throughout the last 2-3 years was just anybody that wanted to know more about the project, I would say, do you have 20 minutes? Let's go. I think you've been to a couple, by the way.
I have.
Okay, so we did that, and I still do that. I did that this last weekend. So we do give tours to people that want to know more of what we're doing. And it's an open tour, and we go, all the way around, and you can see what we're doing. Now, again, it's important for a lot of reasons to be careful who you open up to, because there's always going to be people that are going to just resist for
Resistance sake.
resistance sake. And of course, and again, I do understand. I've always said this. I'm an anxious person naturally. I know anxiety. And I think I have a very high emotional intelligence, because I've operated restaurants in many parts of the world. And I also do surf events. So when you're going to do a surf event, you need to have the local surfers on your side. You're only there for a week. Same with, operating restaurants in Aruba or Bahamas. I mean, it was not my culture taking over. It was like, how do I adapt to your culture? So my job for close to 20 years was understanding what other people were expecting, and kind of, do this crossover of what, we're bringing this, but how do I tropicalize it to your culture? If people want to work 5 hours, I'm not going to force them to work 8 hours. I just hire one more waiter. It's a lot easier. So to me, it was always this challenge that I liked, because I actually like doing this, is what can go wrong. And sometimes things, of course, went wrong, but being able to adjust and be flexible, and not, our master plan has changed 5 times. It was always adapting. Every tour that I did, it was an opportunity for me to get feedback, and take that feedback and feed it into the project. It was not, hey, this is what we're doing. It's like, what do you think? And your question is awesome. Like, what do you think? What do you think people are going to respond to this? And so we were always very aware of the anxiety that any project coming to Todos Santos was going to cause. So we really did our best. I personally did my best. And again, I have a lot of local friends that love what we're doing, and they go to our concerts and our shows and our dinners, and they love the place. But at the same time, they're aware that that other projects are coming, and when it's too much. I mean, to your question, it's hard to know. It's hard to pinpoint. The reality is that there is more coming. We all know this. Baja is growing. I think, what is it, 15, 18%?
Well, it depends what you're measuring.
I mean,
right?
this is the economy in general.
I could tell you that the real estate prices increased 7% last year, right?
That's amazing.
And that's a slow year.
And do you know the growth in Mexico as a country? It's less than 1%.
Yeah.
So
We're
what's
outperforming.
happening? We're, outperforming most of Mexico. So there is anxiety throughout the community, and we don't want to cause any more. And I think, I know that people know more about their project than the people that don't know. Like, I meet people all the time that have no idea what Santa Terra is. I'm like, oh, well, you would think that they know. They don't know. But again, I work on both sides, like, oh, if you don't know, let me tell you about it. And if you know, what have you heard?
Right. And if it's 9% of the land is developed, what was it before?
Well, it was brush. It was just...
Meaning 9%, I'm assuming in the 5 iterations of changes, you had more construction, it was more density, or no?
No, not really. I mean, it was always like, when we did Oystera, when we did that building, that was actually kind of maxed out. Like, that was the most that we could do in general. So for the people that have been there, and again, I think a lot of people that have gone down, they're like, wow. I mean, they expect something very different, and it's just open spaces and gardens and green.
Super beautiful.
It's very nice. And again, once I do that, I think people really tend to relax a little bit. But yeah, a lot of people thought, of course, Neto Coppel is the owner of the land, the owner of the project is somebody that we both know. He's I feel so lucky to work for him, and he's just such a great person. And the people that know him, he gives so much. Of course, there's always this thing about developers. That's you can either be a hero or a villain.
Yeah. Well, it's change, right?
It's
Developers develop the land.
Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah,
that's
and he
change.
provides 5,000 people work. 5,000 people work in these hotels in Cabo. In Todos Santos, we're up to 120 people that we employ, and that should triple in the next 5 years. But again, it's mostly we want to sell the lifestyle in Todos Santos that gives space to the artists. Todos Santos is an artist hub, but most of them don't have the chance to showcase what they do. We want to be a part of that, so we're doing events like Baja's Best, where we bring like 50 of the best chefs, mixologists, artists, and musicians from Baja in one stage, in one place. And so we want to be a platform for all the talent that lives in this beautiful destination. But yeah, there was always this idea that going full into the real estate part of the project was gonna be the hardest part of it. For us, again, I always say this is, it's restaurants, it's shops, it's galleries, it's event areas. We want to do, of course, the dog park opened. We're closed it for a little bit, but we're going to reopen. And a lot more events. I'm all into bringing, things to do in Todos Santos for the people that live there.
When you talk dog park, is that an open area or is it enclosed for the
It is a completely beautiful open area with a bar, little restaurant, bathrooms. And I have 4 dogs. I think this is really coming from me. Like, it's hard to find. You either take them to the beach,
right,
where they want to run wild, and if you don't have them leashed, I mean, you got to go to a beach that there's no one there.
right.
But this dog park, we opened it and it was very successful for a while. We closed it because we're gonna do a new entrance and parking on the other side. It was mostly a place for people to bring their dogs and spend the afternoon, but it will be more than that. We want to do. We have a date for the International Todos Santos Dog Day.
When's that?
That is gonna be in 2 more months. That's it's
March?
first week of April, just after Semana Santa, spring break. So we're inviting vets from all over Todos Santos and La Paz. We're gonna do a neutering run. We're gonna do an adoption run, and I know, man. I mean,
I just adopted a cat, I guess, today.
Bring it for free, of course.
Right.
So that's part of what we're doing and helping out. There's a lot of people that are really into helping out with the dog population, and they don't have the means or the spots. So we're making this a community-driven event also.
So pets, animals are important. Do you have animals living on the property?
We have stray dogs that have made Santa Terra their home. And besides picking up after them, it's fine.
Yeah. How many acres are we talking about?
It's 35 acres. Around that, and so out of the 35 acres, it's 3.5 are farmland. That's always going to be, we use it for our restaurants. We also have sunflower fields and it's flowers throughout the year, and so that's farmland. I think it's part of what was there before, so that's important. But we're also doing just green lawn areas for events mostly, and in other areas that are just going to be kept as they are. We're just doing like walkways so you can walk through them and get to see the entirety of the land without being developed either bricks or even gardens, just keep it as pristine as we can.
I've heard from locals against Santa Terra talk about the water.
Yeah.
Right? A stream going through, and
Water
that
goes
it's
through our land.
right, and that developing that area shouldn't be done as a result of that. What's the truth? What's your take on that?
Water has always gone through there. The problem was that before, it didn't really go out. It was just like you would try to get in there with a tractor and you would get stuck in the mud because there was no natural way out of the water. So what we did was provide that way for the water to go south. And you can see, I mean, if you do, we have Google Earth pictures of our land, that you'll see most of it was just overgrown, and it was just water. I mean, there were mosquitoes, was a problem, flies and all that. So we let that through.
Where does it go? To the ocean?
It goes to La Poza.
La Poza.
And again, we test their water, and again, I think this is part of the misinformation that I've had to challenge. And for me, like, I've heard horror stories that we chopped down 400 palm trees.
Mhm.
Do you know what it takes to chop down 400 palm trees? Do you know what the most amazing thing about our land is? It's so green. Why would you want to ruin that? Water is the same issue. Like, what do you do with that water? Do we use it for irrigation? No. We have the water canals that are there and have been there hundreds of years, 100 years, and that they're used for irrigation. We are part owners of that water. We get a timeline for that, but the rest of the water just goes through. And I think you've seen it. You see how it enters and it goes out of our property and next to the next lot. And if you follow the water line in Google Earth pictures, you'll see that every neighbor south from me, which I have a lot of neighbors with their houses built in the same areas where we're at, all of them did the same thing. Nobody wants water to stay in your property and become a problem.
Why do you think you've been the target, though? You're the enemy number one.
Yeah, you know what? I think that I don't think everybody's an enemy. Like, we have a lot of fans. We get a lot of customers every day. I mean, we have a lot of people that understand what we're doing and they're fine with it. Maybe they're not gonna put their hands in the fire for us and go out there and speak well of us, but I know for a fact that a lot of people really understand what we went through, which was nothing new in Baja. I mean, it's happened to many other people. And I think I always say there's a high price to pay in Todos Santos.
Did you ever think during your 10-year journey that, what the heck are we doing?
No, I'm very proud of what we're doing. I wouldn't be here, Nick. Like, I'm not the owner. I could be doing other things, I'm proud of what we're doing. I think and also, again, this is, you can't live day by day and suffer day by day. I think what we're doing is going to really show in the future. I think people will learn to understand that most of the things that they've heard is just gross misinformation.
Uh-huh.
And we are, of course, making a lot of changes, but that doesn't mean that we think that we're doing something that is not a positive for the town. It's been one of our objectives since we started. And to answer your question, why? I would like to know too. Why there's this energy in this town sometimes that can turn, fierce. But I think that, it's part of the protection and the anxiety of people not wanting Todos Santos to become another Cabo. And we don't want that either.
That's good.
Yeah.
We work with a lot of developers, and a lot of them talk about Todos Santos. If you were to give advice to a developer that hasn't touched anything in Todos Santos yet to be successful, what would...
I think the first thing that they encounter is, again, the low density. I mean, I talked to a lot of people that bought land and had no idea that they could only build on 20-30% of their land. So most of them were like taken aback. That was, do your due diligence, that's important. I think, but I also think that very important, you cannot stand on the sidelines. You have to be part of the solution also. Like, we don't really advertise it, Nick, but we've donated 2 fire trucks. How many fires go? It's a problem. They didn't have 1 working fire truck. Now we have 2.
Okay.
An ambulance, a garbage truck. We provide uniforms for the baseball team. We've helped all the delegados that have been through that office. We have a committee of other developers that we are working with authorities to come up with solutions for the infrastructure problem that is present and that will be in the future. But for instance, I represent, I'm part of the Todos Santos Pueblo Mágico committee. I represent Todos Santos in Emprotur in La Paz. I am part of this committee of developers that get together and try to figure out how to make the growth in Todos Santos orderly and something that every part of the community wants. And that is a challenge because there's 3 groups in the community. There's the local native, 3, 4, 5 generation people that live there and will never leave.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to hear them first. Their economy is improving. We're hiring their kids.
Mm-hmm.
We're not only hiring, but we're helping them grow and learn. And then there's a Mexican community that has made Todos Santos their home, like me. Of course, we have an idea what Todos Santos should be. And then there's a foreign community, which, and this for the most part, are never there the whole year. They're here 7, 8 months, and when they leave, you can see what happens to the economy. It just goes south. So in order to have a robust economy that grows with order, you have to listen to these 3 parts and work within the community with authorities to find answers to this, because I've seen it happen in other parts of Mexico. You cannot give liquor licenses to bars. Just bars will spread, and then that beautiful road is just going to be bar, and
Yep.
that's a problem. So we want to avoid that also. We want bars. I'm not saying they're not welcome, but we want restaurants and hotels to have a liquor license, with all the permits. So yeah, we have these very heated discussions of what Todos Santos should be, and it's one voice against the other, and then it becomes these meetings. I mean, they go for 4 hours sometimes, and it's rough and it's tough. But I think it's part of what any developer that wants to go into Todos Santos should understand and be a part of. You also have to open your wallet, and if it can't be your wallet, it has to be your time.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be participating through Facebook. You got to do more. And I think that's
money giving to the community,
well,
doing things like the fire truck.
I have friends that they build their dream home.
Yeah.
And they're renting out 3 casitas. And it's like, no, you're using services too. You are part of a problem that there's 700 constructions going on, Cerritos, Pescadero, and Todos Santos, around that number.
And only 5,000 inhabitants.
Well, 5,000 local plus 5,000 coming and going.
Right.
10,000. That's Todos Santos.
Yeah.
But if you add, it's a bit more if you add Cerritos.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna really, everyone that's building should understand that we're all part of the problem and the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we want to set that example and saying, let's not be in the sidelines. Let's be part of the solution, and even through heated discussions, be a part of this.
Let's talk about fun things.
Yes.
Events. All right.
This
the
wasn't
events,
fun.
No, it's good to have the history, talk about the challenges in the town.
Appreciate it. I think it's important.
But you're doing a lot of great things. In fact, I celebrated my 50th birthday
I remember
at the
that.
property. You invited me to the Whalers that
Yes.
performed last summer. You're big on events. So talk to us about what kind of events you have done and what are some of the exciting events planned for 26?
We just did I loved it. I love jazz. I think I'm getting older.
The jazz.
I think I'm getting older because I love jazz and it's certain jazz, you know, I mean, it's so diverse, but so we did a jazz festival, I think it was a month ago, and it was amazing. 3 days of jazz, 15 bands. We have another jazz dinner. It's different than the festival. It's called the Blue Note Sessions. It's inside Oystera. That's this Saturday, the 31st of January.
Okay.
So it's Terry Thompson. I don't know if you know him. He's a two-time Grammy winner. He lives here in Baja. Yeah, and so he's gonna play that night, and we have a wonderful dinner, and it's gonna be inside Oystera, and we just bought like 5,000 candles, so it's gonna be very fun event. So we're doing that, but I love a good symphony, and I think we all do, and you don't see that here ever.
Never.
Okay, so we're gonna start to bring a little bit of classical music. I think it's important, but we're also doing a Frank Sinatra tribute. And we know with the symphony, we want to do a tribute to Pink Floyd with a full symphony. 70 musicians.
Whoa.
I know. So that's in the works. It's not an easy endeavor, but we want to do it. But we're also doing, we have the Baja's Best food fair event. I think I already told you about that one. But also on the 28th of November, we are working with Michelin, the Michelin Guide. And so we're doing the first ever in the world. I'm not kidding, Nick. We're getting all the restaurants that are in the Michelin Guide in Baja, which is 21 restaurants. And we're going to do a food fair, all the Michelin Guide restaurants
Get out.
in Baja are going to be in Todos Santos in a one-day event. And we're bringing the Buena Vista Social Club tribute for that too. So that's the 28th of November. And again, it's a platform, it's a tribute to all the talent that exists here. And I'm in the restaurant industry. Out of the 21 restaurants that have a Michelin recommendation in Cabo and Todos Santos, I think I've been to 8. Yes.
Yeah.
Who knows, who has been to the 21 restaurants that are in the Michelin Guide here in Baja? I don't think anybody.
Right.
So we're going to get them all together, and you're going to be able to...
In one day.
In one day. So these are the events that I really think are awesome for Todos Santos. Todos Santos has always been an event destination. And they're, you know, they're boutique. You know, you're never going to do a 10,000 people event. You know, I'm talking 800, 1,000 people. And I think that's like...
Max.
You know, you can't do more. But it's perfect. And again, we're always thinking we do the Art Loves Baja events where we invite all the artists wherever they want to come from. And we do a weekend event where everybody just, you know, pick your spot and they start painting. So you're eating and there's this guy painting over there, you know, live art. And so we do that event maybe 2-3 times a year. Music festivals, of course, there's a lot of local talent and we want to bring outside talent too. So something to do, something for people to appreciate, open air, beautiful grass where you can lay down and enjoy cool music.
What are you planning aside from the bigger events? Every week, it seems like you have stuff going on. You have the restaurants, you have the bar that people can have a cocktail.
I have a problem, Nick. I get bored.
So you're always coming up with new stuff and...
Pop-ups, takeovers.
Yep.
You know, whatever. We are building something that we have the capacity to react. I can put up an event in a week or 2 weeks.
So
where people take 3-4 months.
And if someone wants to have a wedding there or things like that.
Yeah. We have our celebrations department, which we're starting. We've been doing this for 1.5 years. We've done like 7 or 8 weddings. And I love it. I think, you know, it's called celebrations because, you know, we say celebrate life at Santa Terra. You know, everybody has something to celebrate. So we're doing cocktail parties and we've done a couple of divorce parties. Those are so fun.
What?
Yes.
What's a divorce party?
Well, people getting divorced and you know, and
celebrating.
Why
I've
not?
never heard that.
Yeah, we actually advertise it in our,
Really?
we say divorce parties and click here.
That's
Yes.
crazy. What about accommodation? What about the real estate?
Well, accommodations, we have a plan to do a glamping, a very small glamping project. I think this is mostly to provide lodging for weddings.
Mm,
A lot of people ask for that. That's mostly it. And of course, our real estate project is going through some changes, and we'll let people know about these very shortly. But again, this is not a real estate project, and it was never intended to be. Unfortunately, again, a lot of misinformation, and people got maybe the wrong idea about everything. And we're working, and since that day, and the days that we've been following up on listening to the community and being open to people's comments, positive or negative. I think I've given maybe 100 tours.
mm,
Like people in the community that I know were posting or were
yeah.
talking about some of the things that were going on. I'm like, you want to come and see for yourself? And I think that's really done major change to what people thought was going on. And we can always, again, anybody looking, watching, we do give tours. So anybody wants to come over and meet me and I'll personally give you a tour, you're going to love it.
Well, I see Santa Terra as a community center, bringing the community, those three pillars, the local community, the Mexican national that's a transplant, the
Yeah.
foreign community like myself,
Yeah.
bringing them all together around community, whether it's food, it's drink, it's music,
Yes.
it's your pets.
Yes.
And what beautiful environment to host these kind of events. And
That was always our main goal, really. I mean, it's sad, now that I mean, and again, it's been a learning process for all of us. I mean, again, you were very right in saying, what will you do different? I mean, a lot of things, of course, but it's part of growth. I mean, it's part of, any project in Baja has to really open up, and learn from everybody's mistakes. And I think that's happening. And again, anybody that's here, and my kids live here, what do I want from Todos Santos or Baja? The best. I want this to be kept as pristine as we can, and at the same time offer growth and a better economy for a lot of people that also deserve it and are looking for that, And so it's this very thin line balance that requires a lot of work, and we are in it for the long run. And I don't know, I don't know if you can see my beard is now white.
because a
That's the
lot of
price.
stress.
That's the price that we paid. But I also think that it's really worth it.
Well, the fact that you're on this podcast and we prepared with questions and you had nothing to hide. And the fact that you're willing to meet anyone, whether it's a friend or foe,
Yes.
show them the property, show them exactly what you are, what the project is
I tell
foretelling.
everybody, give me a chance. I'll do the tour. Give me a chance. Let me show you what we're doing. Let me explain.
It's the owners, it's the directors, it's the people in charge that hide behind closed doors
Yeah.
and don't offer themselves and don't talk about the real important matters
No.
that you have to be cautious of.
No,
And
I've
that's
said
not
this
you.
100 times. I'm very proud of the work that we've done. There have been some missteps, a lot of misinformation throughout the process. And again, there's always people that are always going to be against you, and you have to understand where that's coming from. And I understand it. I'm not against that either. I mean, you have to be open to this, and
Well, it's made Santa Terra a better project.
I
In
think
the
so.
long
I
run.
really think so. I tell my team this because, of course, this created a lot of internal anxiety,
Mhm.
and I was always, there to explain that it's part of the price that we have to pay, and let's keep our heads high and learn from it, and make the changes that need to be done, and not hide, not hide.
Abe, thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for the chance, the opportunity.
And everyone, if you haven't checked out Santa Terra, Oystera, the restaurants, Vino Park, Abe is there almost every day. And if he's not there, I'm sure he'll be there for you if you want to book an appointment, tour the project. But you have a great staff. He said over 100 people?
120.
120 people and growing. You're important to Todos Santos and the community. And thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.
For the community. I know it's not easy being a trailblazer and introducing change, but I think it's all worth it. And when people walk the property, they see it firsthand. And so thank you.
I invite anybody that wants to come through and meet me and get to know the project.
Just be careful. Whenever you see him, he always offers you a drink. He will not let anyone without a drink in hand. So
it's so much easier to make people fall in love with a project with a shot of tequila. That's my...
And with that, that's it for the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much.
And until the next one, bye for now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ronival Real Estate and follow Nick on Instagram at NickFong_Ronival. Ready to find your Baja dream home? Check out the latest property listings at Ronival.com or findmexicohouses.com. Hasta luego.